We're
Oh,
back.
hello there. How's it going? You snuck up on me.
Thanks. Thanks for coming
Yes,
back. Our
you're back.
second visual episode. What are these? Video episode? No more.
Still stuck in the box.
No.
No?
I don't
Yes,
think
video
so.
episode number 2.
And
That's what the boys
episode
love.
24.
24.
Like,
That's
look
right.
at us.
Look at us go.
There.
Look at us go.
So exciting.
Got exciting stuff on the show today.
We do.
Got another interview for you.
We have an author, our first author interview. Very
That's right.
excited. And a game inspired by her book.
Uh-oh.
So very excited about that.
We're going to see how that goes, I guess.
But first. It's been the first week of school for me. If you can see the bags under my eyes. And
Darling, never.
Is this one of your oops moments?
Darling, never.
My first. I was pretty good. Right?
You were good. You were only a little hangry here and there.
Once or twice.
But otherwise, we had a good first week. The boys don't go back till this week.
Yeah, they start this week. So yeah, and that's kind of nice having the staggered start because like that's a lot all at once for me trying to get ready for back to school and then them. So it's nice that it's in different weeks. But yeah, I was very tired this week.
That's true.
I think the first night of school I fell asleep at like 8 o'clock.
You definitely did. Oh, I remember.
You took good care of me.
I remember the promises that were made. And then the nap that ensued. You know what I mean?
No, I have no, I don't remember. I have no recollection.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But you're good.
First of all, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So if you really expected anything the first week of school.
Oh my goodness.
That's on you, friend.
Yeah.
It's
good, though.
Yeah, it's
back
good.
at it.
The boys have been trying to squeeze out the last drops of summer too.
Swimming.
Yeah, we got to go to a friend's pool party that their daughter, that's very special to us, is heading off to college in Brooklyn. So we got to go to her send-off party, pool party. Mm-hmm. And then today Ollie went to a water park with a friend. So he was really excited about that. He's been a little anxious about school starting back up and just like getting into the routine and the workload and all of that. And so when his friend messaged and was like, hey, you want to go to the water park tomorrow? He's like, yes. Like it's something.
Summer was short this time.
It was so short. And so it was nice that it was something.
But it's okay because, as the person who works from home.
You're not excited about all of us being out of the house, are you?
As long as you don't take Stella, it should be okay.
Back to you and
she
Stella.
She can stay here
all
with me.
Day. Mm.
She does not like having everybody and disrupting her sleep.
Yeah, she gets upset. She gets a heavy sigh. Like, it's my nap time. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And so we're glad to have you back. And
welcome. We had some good feedback from last week
when
we talked to Brent. That was fantastic. Lots of good feedback.
Lots of great advice.
Good advice
from Brent and good feedback from listeners, and everybody said you were so handsome and you did a good job with our set.
Oh, so wow! Okay,
thank you for that.
You can keep those coming. Every week.
Please keep sending those. But yeah, before we get into it with our game and our author, let's play our music.
Okay.
All right. So today on the show, we are interviewing Megan Sotelo Padilla.
That's right.
And her book is based on a like rom-com reality show similar to like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or like 90 Day Fiance, where there's a lot of dates.
Any of those shows where you have to date somebody quickly, and they always have fun production-led dates with candles and all kinds of silly.
Yeah. So we thought it would be fun to play a game where I'm going to give Matt 3 random words, and he has to tell me the story of this date.
What?
These three random.
That's the game?
Prompts. Yeah, why?
I gotta make it up.
I
thought I was gonna read you the words and you make them up.
No.
Oh
no.
Man. Okay. So these, which actually makes sense. In her book, the main character goes on a bunch of dates.
Yep.
And ours, that's gonna be different dates too. Now I think about it, like as we continue.
It happens, when you're with our book, like
because they're going to be traveling.
They have to get to know each other.
They have to do
and I think some will be just organic, them spending time together, and some will be intended dates. But in Megan's book, it's intended dates because she's trying to choose from a whole host of guys that are competing for her love and attention. So,
well, let's play the game. I'm excited.
So I always love to see what your brain comes up with.
Oh, danger! Let me
give you random prompts.
right and ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is similar to Jimmy Fallon does the Wheel of Wheel of Freestyle with the freestyle generator. And so I'm gonna give you these 3 random words, and then you have to incorporate them into a story about this date.
Weave them into
ready?
a date. This is See that sound? Did you hear me make that?
That's a sound of confidence.
That's a confident sound.
Great.
I'm ready. Give me the words.
The first 3. Okay.
Give it to me.
Behind door number 1.
Yeah. Easy.
We have this date that involves a candle shop.
Done. Easy.
Roller skates.
Okay. Let me write these down.
A mysterious envelope.
Mysterious envelope. Okay.
Tell me about this date behind door number 1.
This is so easy.
Okay.
You know why? Because they both are postal workers.
Okay.
Okay. And so it's about delivering love in the mail. Okay. And this mysterious envelope, Andrea, gets delivered to Our Lady's house. And we will call her, well, you name her then. You give her a name.
I don't know.
Just any old name.
Jenna.
Okay. Jenna. Easy. So a mysterious envelope ends up at Jenna's house. And it's from Dave. I'm just going to say Dave for the guy. Dave sounds cool. He's Dave. Dave, the letter guy. And what happens is she gets it. It's a mysterious envelope. And she opens it and there's nothing in it. It's really odd. It's like a blank piece of paper. And so what she has to do is she starts to tell her best friend about it. Okay. And they end up at a candle shop and they're talking about it. And she realizes magically, like when she puts the card to fire, the ink shows up. And it's an invite to this date to go roller skating with Dave.
Okay.
And so
the roller
Dave, the roller skater, is really into roller skating. And it's called Love Derby because he's actually in the roller derby. Okay. And so that first date is about them crashing into each other and having some bumpy feelings as they make their way around the roller derby race.
Okay.
Duh.
Oh, yeah.
It's very mysterious at the start.
I got a little nervous there.
And then it got into the roller. See, it's just easy. Let me write that down. That may end up in the book.
Yeah. Thankfully, Megan's dates were more solid, but that was
it's
start.
something.
That was a good start.
Give me something.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to give you this. No, it's good.
Okay.
It's good. You're doing this because that's not my gift. So I'm still impressed by the fact that you can come up with these.
I'm ready.
On the fly.
Okay. 3 new words.
3 new words.
I'm ready.
An art museum.
Art museum.
Date number 2. Art museum. You're going to love this one. Your favorite. A goat.
Oh, a goat.
A goat.
Okay.
And a drone.
And a drone?
Yeah.
That's easy. That's so easy.
Tell me about date number 2.
So in date number 2, picture it.
Picturing it.
Danielle's sitting at home. Ding dong. She walks up to the door.
So spray some WD-40 on her door.
She lives in a haunted castle. We don't know about that part. And then the young man, Count Stefan. He's a count because she had such a creaky door and felt like she had a castle.
A match made in heaven.
So yeah, Danielle and Count Stefan, he picks her up and he's very fancy. And he says, let's go to the art museum.
Okay.
Which is actually at his house because he owns an art museum.
And he lives there?
And he lives there.
Okay.
And so he's going through and he has this program where people can make art. But the whole bit is that they get to feed it to the goat to talk about how art is just consumed as we are animals.
Okay.
So you get to feed the goat your art. And he just drones on and on about it, Andrea. That's all he does is talk about his art. And it's not a love connection. They don't always have to be. And so at the end of the night, he drives her home and drops her off. And instead of like a kiss, she's like, okay, thank you. And she goes into her house and very slowly. Shuts the door. And then. And then she has a couple of latches up here. Because he was a count and he's kind of difficult to be around. And he kept droning on. How does that sound? Does that sound like a good date?
I'm so concerned for so many reasons. I mean, why did she invite him to her house if that amount of locks was required? Like,
I don't know.
Who that would install that many locks for their safety would just invite some dude to their house to pick them
Well,
up?
he has the title. He's a count.
So
she thought he would be fanciness. And he had an art museum. So see, I mean, that sounds like a great date to me.
But then I also
would read that date.
I don't think I would let him bring me home.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. No.
His driver brought them both back. You know what I mean? He's a count.
Yeah, but then can you trust the driver? I don't even know.
You don't know. Well, she's locked in.
And
she doesn't have to
you cheated a little bit with drone.
What do you mean? You just said drone. You just gave me words.
I said a drone. I said a drone.
Okay. Well, instead of droning on and on, he had a man butler that's also his driver that is a drone. How about that?
The driver is a drone.
Yeah, he's like a robot.
Oh, okay. A little sci-fi.
You kept trying to get me to drone, but no. I'm not doing it. All right, give me one last one. And one last one before we get to the actual talented person.
Thank goodness we have a writer on their way. Okay, the last one. Date number 3 involves a farmer's market. Farmer's market. Okay. A kite.
Mm-hmm.
And improv comedy.
Oh my gosh. It's easy, Andrea. So let me tell you about our friend Deborah, right? Deborah, she heads over to the farmer's market, which is where this guy, we'll call him Ben for now, has said, hey, come meet me at the farmer's market. We're going to have a great date, right?
I like that.
So she shows up to meet Ben.
Good start.
And she's walking around, but she can't find him, right? And as she's walking through the farmer's market, she's picking up, smelling produce or squeezing melons, whatever you do at a farmer's market. And
you've never been to a farmer's market?
They don't allow me there anymore. I squeeze too many melons.
Why?
And she sees that there's a large crowd gathered, but she still can't find Ben. And she's like walking through, and she interrupts the crowd to see that there's a guy there dressed as Ben Franklin, Andrea. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's my date.
Ben Franklin.
Yeah, he's like an improv performer dressed as Ben Franklin. So she watches his whole act where, of course, he gets out a kite with a key and he's doing the thing and giving a speech about how he invented bifocals and things. And after everybody is happy, they all disperse and he comes up with this swagger because he's been the center of attention. And he tells Deborah, like, hey, let's go squeeze some melons around this market. And so he stays in his half-shorn bald cap thing and knickers, pantaloons, if you will. And they have a nice date around the farmer's market where he ends up signing autographs because he's freaking Ben Franklin, man.
If you were Deborah,
yeah,
would you stay for this performance and go on a date squeezing melons around the farmer's market?
Deborah is a little desperate, okay? She needs some Ben in her life, and that's okay. Maybe that's her vibe. Maybe that's her style. Maybe, you know what? Deborah's actually a historian by trade. That's her job. So she's drawn in, and that's why he decided to go this route, because she's a historian and knows about history. He wanted to show that he's about her passions too. Thank you.
Okay. All right, listeners at home, which of those 3 dates would you choose if you were
Which date do you want to go on?
A dating show.
I'm going to go get my Ben Franklin outfit on.
I'm going to pass. That's not my historical passion.
I'm going to let you take my pantaloons down.
I'm a little concerned about your ability to plan a date now, but...
And the gold buckles everywhere. I know you like that.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let me know which date you want to go on. I can set it up for you. And yeah, maybe we can ask Megan, the real writer, about what an actual romantic date looks like.
None of the above. Yeah.
Are you concerned about me now?
A little
and
bit.
That I don't know what a romantic date is?
Perpetually concerned, yes. But yeah, no.
That makes sense.
We're excited to have our first author on the podcast, our author of the week, Megan Sotelo Padilla.
Let's cut to it. We're excited to welcome Megan Sotelo Padilla to the show. Megan is an indie author, educator, and college persistence advisor based here in Dallas with us. Her debut novel, Late Night Might As Well Be Drunk Writing, dropped in 2020, and that followed a young author navigating love, career ambitions, and sudden fame while confronting entertainment industry drama, systemic inequities in her own mental health. Her second novel, I Object, released just recently. Hey, there it is. Here in 2025, it's a hilarious and heartfelt romantic comedy inspired by reality TV and family secrets. Beyond writing, Megan creates educational content, sharing free college tips, book recommendations, and uplifting stories through her website and social channels, which we will get to.
Yep.
And we cannot wait to talk about how she balances all this stuff, the writing, community building, career and education, and sneak peek, a doctorate? Trying to chase a doctorate.
PhD.
So I want to welcome to the show our author of the week, Megan Sotelo Padilla. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm going to need you to send me that bio because that is way better than the bios that I have there.
It's yours. It's yours
yours.
now.
You can have it.
One of the prizes for coming
That's
on
right.
the show.
That's how it
Thank
works.
you so much
Thank
for
you
being
so much.
here. We're so excited to talk to you.
Yes. So where do we want to
Thank you.
start? My
I
gosh,
know,
we have so many questions. I have
No,
pages
just-
of questions.
We want to pick
It's
your
coming.
brain. We will. How many will we pepper you
Okay.
with? First of all, congratulations
Yes.
on this.
Thank
I Object
you.
out now. We're going to talk about where you can find this later, but I want to hear a little bit about your journey to writing. Like, where
Yeah.
did this start? Did you study this in school? Was it, how far back did that bug to be an author? Where did that start?
Yeah, I did study literary studies in undergrad. I think as far back as I can remember, I always liked to read and write. I remember I would even write little stories with my friends when I was a kid, and they were just really silly
Yeah.
stories. And then as I got older, they started to develop into full-length novels. So yeah, as long as
you've been writing for a while.
Writing for a
Yeah.
long
as long as I
time.
could have been
Yeah.
writing.
That's awesome. How did they all kind of have it? Were they same genre? Was it
Oh, yeah.
all over the place? Like different, like of your different stories into novels? Like, have you always kind of gravitated toward the same thing?
I think they've been kind of all over the place. I think a lot of people start out writing, fan fictions or
Yep.
stories that are basically replicas of other stories, and they don't realize it when they're writing it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was doing. I like to write romance. I also like to write like horror and thriller, which isn't something I've published yet.
Nice.
So I'd like to explore that in the future too.
It's exciting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, we always talk about, and something one of our last guests talked about was like learning the rules before you break them, right? So you end up kind of emulating what you're seeing and what you're reading, and then you write your own thing, and you go, okay, well, now that I've got the basis for what's going on, how can I do my own thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
It's great.
And what motivates you to write?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, you've got so much going on.
I
I
know.
mean, the
You have a lot
website
of-
and all the content and full-time job, and like, what motivates you to be like, what, I have to write. I have to get my thoughts out.
Honestly, I just love when I get these ideas in my head and I have to get them out. And so sometimes I don't know if I've only listened to a few episodes of the podcast. I'm like catching up. So I don't
Thank
know
you.
if you've gotten
Thanks
to
for
like
listening. Yeah.
that pantsing versus plotting.
Mhm.
Yet,
Oh,
but
yes.
I am definitely a pantser. I don't plot. So a lot of times
Oh,
whenever I get
okay.
ideas, I just like put them out and then kind of come back to them later. So anytime I get an idea, I just kind of write it out. And then they start to develop into bigger themes and things I want to focus on. So in this book, I talked a lot about like eldest daughter syndrome and, family
Dedicated to the
dynamics and
eldest
stuff like
daughters.
that.
I saw that. Yeah, dedicated to eldest daughters. Yeah.
So-
Will you talk a little bit about that? Your inspiration for this book.
Yeah.
I know that I was lucky enough to get to read it as a
you read
beta
it.
reader, and just definitely themes of Hispanic families and culture. I think that really stood out, and access to education, which I know the connection with
passion.
your work. Yeah, clearly a passion, and then dedicated to the eldest daughters, which I really connected with
Yeah.
that too. So just curious, what led you to that for this book?
Yeah, I think a lot of times I try to incorporate like where I'm kind of at in my life into the story. So that was something that I've kind of been dealing with is like the eldest daughter syndrome and having to like take a step back from like how much I can actually do as far as helping my family with things. And also kind of talking about like the limitations of being an eldest daughter and sometimes feeling a responsibility to take care of your family, even if it limits what you can do as far as your own life's progression. So I felt like
Absolutely.
that was a cool theme to explore in this one.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and it's something that I'm going to probably ask everybody we talk to, because I'm falling into this trap of writing myself into our story.
I wouldn't say it's a trap. I think.
Well, I say it's a trap. I mean, it's like
we've gravitated.
You want to write what you know,
towards it.
right?
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
going to write something completely unknown to you.
Not
but
off the
how
gate,
much of
Yeah.
yourself goes into it,
Yeah.
you know? And even in your 2 books, it feels like you're kind of plotting your own story along the way. You know, how do you find that line of where it's like, okay, this is my character, but this is me? Like, where do I separate? You know, how do I put it together?
We've struggled with that.
Yeah.
For both of our leads, the
Yeah.
male and female lead. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think it's necessarily bad to put parts of yourself in the story. I think, you know, as long as I think when it gets to a point where you're like, this person is me, you know,
And they've gone too far.
you've got a little too far. Like, am I, you know, dumping myself into this book as like a form of free therapy to myself?
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I think there's certain things like I wanted to focus a little bit more on the education aspect to kind of demonstrate how caring Maya is in the book versus it being a part of me, if that makes sense.
I love that. Yeah. To talk a little bit about it. So the background on this book, I guess, is Maya is at her wedding day, and she has multiple people object, right? That have some concerns about the wedding, and it comes out that her fiance has cheated on her with her cousin.
This is all in the first chapter.
Yeah, well, it's on the first page.
I know. I'm like,
I'm not giving
I always
anything
get,
away.
I always get a little like,
No,
oh my
no.
gosh, we're getting plotty.
No spoilers. But yeah, so, and then her brother's best friend Benny stands up and professes his love for her. And so, yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about how the 90-Day Bachelorette piece comes about of her and this kind of love triangle thing, because I do want to talk a little bit about how you developed her character and, like you said, wanting to show that she's caring and her commitment and loyalty to her family, and how at times that might even get in the way of progressing in her own life and chasing her own future. And so, yeah, you want to talk a little bit about the plot, We'll try to not give spoilers.
Yeah. So after the wedding, she and her best friend actually they get drunk while they're watching this kind of version of The Bachelorette 90 Day Fiance put together and decide, why don't we just do it ourselves and have our own game show, basically, where you're the lead and I'll bring in all these guys to come and date you and we can have some of the guys from the wedding come. So I just thought it would be kind of like a funny element to have, but also kind of explore her growth as she's exploring all of these individual relationships at the same time. But during
and
that,
then he
she
becomes
also...
one of the contestants. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys in the, also on the first page, not giving anything away.
I guess that would be a good question for me then, because as we're writing our book, one of the things that we've got right now is we're working on this kind of, I don't want to say guiding principle, but driving dynamic within the book, which is turning more into like a journey thing of a treasure hunt kind of thing, where it's like we got to get to this point, then this point, and this point. So it's helping us push the story along, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like similar with your 90 Day Fiance, like we're going to go on these dates, and it adds structure to the story. Which piece, I guess, kind of came first? Was it the idea of like I object in the wedding piece, or is it like, did you really like the reality TV aspect of it to push everything along? What was the first impetus of like, I've got to write this story?
It was actually the ending. And it's actually interesting because the person that Maya ends up with at the end was not the person that was originally...
Interesting.
And I don't
love
think I've told anybody this yet. So she has a
that's a good scoop.
named Manny, who is kind of more of like a side character in this book, who she was originally going to end up with. But as I started writing it, I felt like the other relationships were more compelling. So I kind of wrote him out. Made him more of like a side character, but that's kind of what happened.
I love that.
I like the idea of him. Well, I kind of substituted whoever she ends up with in the end for like Manny, and end up rewriting the ending. Because I don't know, it didn't feel like he fit with her.
Yeah. The characters were telling you where they wanted to go.
Yeah, which I was kind of like, oh, now I have to rewrite everything. But
I know. I think that's we've heard it's very hard to cut your babies. Yeah, like once you've written something. Yeah, we've heard it's hard. But now after reading the book, I'm like, oh, I just can't imagine. So I'm curious, what it used to look like where the road led to Manny. Because now having read it, I'm like, I can't imagine it another way. But she's also there's several guys, a lot of great characters. I had a lot of fun reading all of the different guys you came up with for her competition. A lot of just different backgrounds and different jobs, different
like values and priorities, and even the dates were so fun, just the different dates that they went on. But, one of the, Benny kind of comes into it as a strong contender just because she's already known him as her brother's best friend. But one of the other guys that quickly rises to the top is Eric, a tech CEO billionaire. And so how did you kind of craft these different guys and like what their role and representation would be in the book and how they would kind of get her attention?
Yeah, with Benny and Eric, I feel like they were the easiest to write just because I wanted Benny to kind of be like the boy next door that she's always known. That everybody, it's kind of like a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. And then I wanted Eric to be kind of like the dream guy who, in any situation, would be a little bit more unattainable. And then as far as all of the other guys, I actually spent a lot of time asking people on Instagram to help me come up with the characters. So like I would ask like, oh. Give me the name of a guy that you dated that you didn't get along with, or like give me the job, like give me a really cool job that someone you dated had. So it was kind of cool
fan participation.
It was really cool to have like people's feedback and to also be able to tell them this is why I was doing that. It was just kind of a cool experience this time around.
I love that.
That's amazing. So are there, I know a big part of your presence is the online presence and your growing TikTok base and the things you've got going on. How much of that stuff, I don't want to say crowdsource, but like how much did you lean on your following to help you with some of these things? Because that's such a great lever to pull and get instant feedback from people. Like, were there other things like that?
Yeah, I think leading up to it, a thing that I did differently with this book than I did with the first one was, of course, the beta readers. And Andrea, you were the best beta reader. You should read forever. Like you were by far the most helpful to me. Like your feedback, I laughed because some of your comments were I think I sent it to you guys with like a disclaimer like, I don't know if this is any good, so just be honest.
It was so good. No, it was so good. And I volunteered to beta read all your books going forward because it was so fun to read. I was like telling him about it as I was going through all the different dates and things like that. But I just thought too it was such a great idea to put it out there to ask for beta readers just from all backgrounds and things like that and different perspectives to get that feedback. And then how did you incorporate that? Like that's another thing I fear. I fear edits and feedback and I wear my heart on my sleeve.
I think I told everyone just to be honest with their feedback, and I think that's why you were so good is because you, not like in a bad way, but you were very critical, and like there were certain things that you pulled tools in that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that, like, or were things that I didn't catch that were kind of maybe just didn't make sense, where I could go back and fix it. But I think everybody overall had really good feedback to give me. One of the things was everyone was like, I was really confused about all of the daters and things like that. So I went back and I added profiles for everybody. That way they could flip back and forth if they needed to catch up with who was who.
Yeah. It's kind of like Game of Thrones. If there's so many characters, it's like, I need a family tree or I need,
But I still wanted to kind of grasp like that experience of when you're watching like The Bachelor and there's 30 guys and you're
right.
That's how I feel the first 3 or 4 episodes. I'm trying to figure out who is who and who sticks out. But that was really good feedback. Another thing is this time I did PR packages before. So people were posting for me, which was really great. I got really great feedback as far as people wanting to get a PR package, which I think people just like free stuff. But it's also really helpful when people review your book and post it for you, especially if they have a really good following.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. We can't wait to feature you as our author of the week. We're so excited. And then too, I know we touched a little bit on it, but this focus on the family dynamic with her and her family. And it's so obvious that they're so close and that's such an important part of who she is in her life. How did you kind of navigate that? Like you said, like maybe a little free therapy too, but that was really inspiring. I grew up in a very close-knit family and I definitely have had to navigate like as the oldest. I was an only child, but I grew up very close with my siblings my cousins.
Basically your siblings.
Basically my siblings, and so I think there was definitely an element of the eldest daughter piece of, just that family pressure piece or feeling the obligation and the sense of loyalty and pride in the family. So I was just curious, like how did you write that in? I know that was something important for you to include.
Yeah, I think one of the things is I wanted the ending to be able to incorporate like them essentially giving her their blessing of whatever relationships we decided to choose. I felt like that was really important. I really liked the sibling dynamics of Mila being a little bit more
Yeah.
mean. Well, they're all, you know, the
little
playfulness
sis
of like
tells it
sibling
like
relationships where you kind of
Yeah.
understand each other, but you're also very
right.
like honest with each other, even if it hurts your feelings, but also being there for each other regardless of what the situation is.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's so real. Like the younger siblings a lot of time get a little more leeway with the parents to be a little freer with their opinions or even with their life of where they go.
They're just the babies.
Yeah,
They're just the babies.
Yeah, no, but and I don't want to have any spoilers, but like you said, I think that that's important for the journey for her family too, of seeing her as her own individual and just going out on her own life and chasing what makes her happy. And so yeah, it was really beautiful. I'm like, I hope you write a whole bunch more books focused on this family, because I did just love her. I loved her family and the way that they all just loved and supported each other, and the humor. I mean, you know, like you said, the way that they rib each other and the things that they say, I really love that too.
So structurally, I was going to ask, you know, part of this, I mean, we're trying to figure out the best way to go about this, and we've taken a few steps, starting with characters, this and that. And you have, like you said, you're kind of a little bit of a pantser. I think that's really interesting to me. What are the things that you think are musts to kind of know beforehand? Like a beginning, middle, end? Or is it like, I love this character and here's some names and traits? Like, what are the things that like you do have pinned up on the wall that you're like, okay, there's my North Star?
Yeah.
I think what I try to figure out pretty quickly is the character, and kind of let that drive the story. I have like usually the beginning, usually the end, something in the middle, and then how we get there is like the fun part for me.
The characters take you.
Yeah. This one was a little bit harder for me to write just because I knew I had to write all of those dates. And I was trying to go in order just to make it flow, because I knew if I tried to pants this one, it would be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So a lot of the dates I wrote just pretty much straight through, and then the ending, like the third act, kind of was a little bit more pantsed, but this one was a little bit harder for me to write.
So generally, you did go chronologically then with the book when you were writing straight through. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, especially, I was thinking with the dates, I'm like, did you ask your husband to just, hey, take me out on a bunch of different dates, don't tell me what we're doing, and then you're just furiously writing.
Just writing them down the whole time.
No, you're doing great. That's good.
Yeah. A lot of them were dates that I've been on before, or like I've seen other people go on, and then some of them were like the kind of stereotypical date. Like I really like the one where they were on the pier. That one was really fun for me to write. And then some of them were just kind of very basic, you know, basic, almost dates that you go on when you're a little bit younger that aren't, you know, really elaborate, expensive dates. That it's just you literally spending time with each other and getting to know each other.
Yeah. Which I thought it was great. I felt like each date really told you something about the guy and their connection. And, you know, was there romance there? Was it a friend vibe? Was it a nice to meet you, have a nice life? You know, I thought that was, really awesome. And then too, you know, I know with your work and focusing on college access and college persistence, that was also a big piece in this book of something that kept coming up and a passion that she was leading toward. Can you talk a little bit about that? Especially we hinted at you recently being accepted into a PhD program. Congratulations. Educational Leadership K-12, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So will you just talk a little bit about your passion in that realm, and then, you know, kind of what led you to include it in your book?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, especially like in our community, education might sometimes take a back seat. So I thought it was really important to have a woman of color emphasizing the importance of education and like having these exploratory experiences for the kids, where they get to learn about different jobs and like go on the field trips and have the sports and all of that. And then I think it also complemented really well with Benny and wanting to have, you know, like the best opportunities for his kids that were on the football team as well. So that was
he's a football coach.
And it talks a lot about like how normally these kids wouldn't have those opportunities, but because they have all of these adults investing time in them and like pushing them to reach their highest potential, they're able to come up with these like really cool career trajectories that they normally wouldn't have. So like they talk about how Benny has kids who are like planning to go to the NFL because they, you know, had somebody behind them like pushing them to go to do college football and stuff like that. And then that's a dream that they also have, is to try to see how many kids they can get into the NFL, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I love that. I mean, I think that was so important. We talked about representing for Hispanic families and for eldest daughters. And then for this, like you said, with the education, so often it's about access and resources and gatekeeping. And so I just thought it was so great. I just think that anybody who buys this and reads it, it just gives them ideas too of what's out there, what might be available. And so I thought that was so awesome that you included those resources and, just that connection to understanding more about the access piece and knowing that there are people that you can support with career planning, college planning, all the support, just getting those exposure experiences and things. So
and that's what you do for a day to day. And that brings me to one big question that I really need help with.
I'm scared.
Where do you find the time to do this stuff?
All these things.
All of these things. The full-time job and the writing
content.
and the content creation. Where do you find the time, A, and then B, like, what does a day of writing look like for you?
Yeah.
You know?
I think right now it's really easy because I don't have kids. I think that's a big thing is I don't have kids. Yeah. So, like, I do have a lot of free time outside of work to do kind of whatever I want. So I do spend probably like an hour or so a day making TikToks and stuff like that. And I try to like draft everything at once and then save it for later on in the week. That way I don't have to, spend multiple hours a day crafting all of that. And then as far as writing, I'm actually one of those people who does not write every single day, even though people tell you to write as much as you can. And I just kind of write when I feel like I need to. A lot of times I just like archive my ideas and then when they come out, they come out. So right now I'm working on ideas for other books that I have in my head, but I'm not somebody who writes every single day. I also like to read because like that's another way to, get better at writing is just to read a lot. So right now I'm kind of like in the reading process part of writing.
Absolutely.
It's all part of
we
the
talk about that all the
research
time and
that's how it started for us.
That's
was
exactly
reading
how it
together,
started.
and then he said, we could write
we
one
can
of these.
do this. We can do this.
Yeah, so yet to be seen, but that's our hope. Yeah, so.
In progress.
And we appreciate the advice to help us get there.
Yes.
But we have a senior in high school this year, so you're constantly popping up on my TikTok too with college advice. I mean, I'm following along too with FAFSA, financial aid, all the things. So I really am grateful for, all of the content. Like we said, you have such a variety of things. And I think it's cool too, just to see you pursuing your passions and furthering your own education, writing, just really sharing your knowledge with the world, I think is really awesome.
As you're sharing that knowledge, I would love to have more knowledge on what your advice would be to us, like beginning writers and things like that. What do you think are some of the key things we need to focus on?
Yeah, I think everyone says just to write your first draft. Just start writing all your ideas down because even if they're bad, you can, get rid of them. But I think that's the biggest thing for me too is sometimes I'll have writer's block and sometimes I really just literally need to sit at my computer and just write everything that is in my head that may not necessarily fit the story or may not necessarily be what I would consider good writing. But then once I get started, things start flowing and I have enough to edit or to like move on to the next chapter or get to that next stage of writing. So I think, just start writing.
That's awesome.
You don't have to have your
that's
feeling.
Yeah, that's
do you
great
write
advice.
to music? That's a question that I've seen a lot of authors.
What's your writing?
Are you a writing music
atmosphere?
person? Are you a candles lit incense kind of person? What's the vibe?
I like to write. Yeah, I do usually listen to music. I try to find music that fits the vibe of whatever I'm writing. So a lot of times, like I had a playlist for this one, and the playlist was music that I was listening to when I was writing this book because it was kind of like giving me ideas for how to move things forward.
Is it public? I want to follow it.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. I'm going to go find it. We'll put it in the show notes. I want to go look for it. And when I read the book again, I want to listen to
I'll send it to you
playlist.
guys.
I love that. That's a great idea. Playlist. That's a good,
playlist.
And like you said, just getting things out of your head. I mean, that's just great advice in general. So many times at night I'm trying to fall asleep and you've just got all those ruminating thoughts. And half the time if I just pick up my phone and just dump whatever's in my brain, I can go right to sleep. And so I think the same thing with writing. I think that's such great advice. Just get out what's in your head. It doesn't have to make sense or flow or whatever. Just get out what you're thinking. Yeah, I really like that too. But I like that you have your music and things like that.
So then if there was one thing you could know about before writing your first book, what is the one thing you wish you would have known before putting that first? I was going to say pen to paper, but that's
now
finger to keyboard, I guess.
Honestly, I think it's all of the technical things, especially if you're going the indie route. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes as far as the formatting of the book and stuff like that. And even this time I think I had blacked it out from the first time, because I remember like just sitting at my computer and trying to format things, and sometimes things glitch and they just don't work.
Oh, man.
And I remember telling my husband, I was like,
Oof.
I just need to hire someone to do this for me next time, because I'm not
Right.
I don't like this.
Like you said, your brain is just like, what? No.
It is.
I don't remember any of that.
And then you hit that one key and everything moves around and you're just frustrated and you flip the table.
Those numbers, the headers, the footers, all of it.
Yeah.
Because you released your first book during COVID, right? In 2020? Is that one the first one? Yeah. What were some of your learnings and lessons from that? Like, what did you bring with you as you wrote the second one?
Yeah.
I think so that one was very different from the first one from the second one, just because I wrote it in a different format. I read this book when I was in college that was written in blog format, and I really liked that. So that's how the first book was written. So I think just the formatting behind it, and I think it was very like bare bones. It was more like somebody's thoughts versus, great,
like a linear narrative, kind of like
versus what I would consider to be like great writing. Like looking back, I'm like, I could have fixed this a little bit more, but
you did it. You published
it.
I mean,
I love that. Yeah. One of my favorite books it's very old now. It's called E, and it was about emails. It's about emails within a company and how they email each other, and they tell the story through the emails and what's going on. So, I mean, I'm totally on board. That is really interesting that you have changed formats from one to the other to be like that. Which one do you think is more difficult, I guess?
Which format?
Which format?
Oh, yeah.
This one for the new book, I think, especially because it was in dual POVs. So it was very hard to switch back and forth. And there were some times where I would write it in one person's POV and then be like, I don't know if this is the right one. And I would have to switch back to the other person.
Interesting.
Like with the spicy scene. That one was kind of hard.
Yeah.
I think you could
Was that challenging?
It was really hard for me to write, especially because the last book was closed door. And my mom had made a comment like, it was closed door, but there was like enough to like, you knew what was going to happen. My mom was like, I felt uncomfortable, and then it made me uncomfortable when I started writing the spicy scenes. I was like, my mom's going to see this.
I was going to say, did your mom read this one? Because there's a good spicy.
I know she bought it. I don't know if she's read it yet, but I'm like...
Just tell her. Don't tell me. Don't tell me when you get...
Skip pages 62 to 81, and you'll be good.
I'm just start putting disclaimers in my books for my mom. Just for my
mom. Yeah, content warning.
Yeah, content warning for mom.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a great idea. I love that. Well, what's next for you? Like, where are you? I know you talked about maybe writing more of these characters, shifting genres. Yeah, what's in the works?
So I have a couple of like thrillers that I'm working on with a different set of characters that I wrote them a long time ago, and I'm thinking about making them longer and adding some stuff in there. But I am also working on 2 other books in this series, so I can't really say what. I think I've told you.
Yeah, I saw it in the email when you sent us the details about the publishing and things like that. So yeah, I won't give it away, but I know that there's more to the story for some of these characters.
Yeah. So one of them I can't say because it'll ruin the book for some people, but the other one is her best friend. And you and I have talked a little bit about like. What that story would look like. So that one's going to be, and she's just very different from Maya. She's very blunt.
Thank goodness Maya needed that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's very blunt. She's very openly sexual in a like comedic way. So I think she would be really fun to write. I love, a chaotic character who's kind of just like trying to figure things out, which is very different from Maya, who's very poised and kind of has like figured out. So.
Trying to hold it all in. Yeah, warn your mom now.
Yeah,
if she's more openly sexual, more confident in herself. Yeah, tell your mom right
Mom,
now.
Don't worry about this.
Don't buy this one.
I love it.
Yeah, I guess I love that. Like, what is one of the things I was going to post back to was the publishing side of things that you mentioned before. It's not we don't have anything to publish, so it's not something we've thought a whole bunch about.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear about a little bit about your process of the looking for publishers and deciding to publish it yourself, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I had published, or I hadn't published. I wrote a book back when I was in college that I had actually gotten accepted to a publisher, but when we were doing like the back and forth with the contract, I wasn't really happy with what they wanted to do. So I kind of pulled that book back. which I'm kind of glad now because the writing was not great for, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
another book that I'm thinking about rewriting too. And then as I've, been pitching books and stuff like that, I've just not been having a lot of luck. And I've heard from other indie authors as well that you need to have a certain following and fit a certain demographic.
Oh, yeah.
Be what they're looking for. We know
Sure.
it with college access and admissions. It's like, it doesn't mean you're not amazing. You just might not be fit what they are looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really like having the ability to publish things when I want and publish what I want and have a say in the cover and and honestly like marketing is kind of fun, getting to know people and see the response a little bit more closely than you would if you went with like a really big publisher. And it's a little bit more, I feel like it is a little bit more satisfying for me to kind of see the growth and know that it was my work and not somebody else's work, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
we've talked about it. My background is marketing, right? Like that's what I've done as a career. So when it comes to like, you're talking about some of these, they start to put mandatories in there and things that they're going to handle and this and that. And it's like, well, I have a pretty big stake in that. Like, like both from a knowledge and a taste sense. Like I have very strong opinions about these things.
Yes, he does.
And I hate to give up some of that freedom. So I'm 100% with you. Like, and I think it all turned out great. I love the cover. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
But
and it's fun just following different people's journeys through that process.
Yes.
We love going to author events like in the area and hearing their process working with large publishers or smaller publishers. And then the indie piece, I know like Lucy Score is one that I know started her own publishing company. That's what she said. That's what it's called. That's what she said, publishing with her husband. And so it's just like I love seeing how that evolves. And I feel like we talk a lot of like in like student advising and things is a thing I say a lot is a curvy path is still a path, and there's so much learning and experience to be learned in the curves, and that growth that's where the growth happens. And so I think it's just really cool and inspiring to me to hear you talk about how your writing has progressed. You're learning with the process and knowing like what you want as an author and as a marketer and the the feedback piece, all of that. I think that's just so inspiring. Yeah.
So I guess that's a good question. What is we at the dinner table we talk about highs and lows every day of the day. Like, what is your least favorite and your favorite part of the process and the writing and the publishing?
Honestly, I feel like my favorite part is like when I get in a groove of knowing what I want to write. I think once I have the idea, it kind of just like spills out, and I think that's the most fun part. Like with this book, I think I wrote most of it within the span of like 2 or 3 weeks, just because I knew like once I know where we're going, I
just started sprinting.
It just pours out, So I think that's always fun.
Amazing.
Especially because, I'm not a big plotter. So it's just like, like this is where it's going. Like these pictures know what they want.
I'd be like calling in sick to work. Like, sorry, no.
I've got it. It's right here. I've got it. I can't come in today.
Like I'm one of those people, it's hard if I start like a puzzle or some kind of a project, it's really hard for me to put it down. So that's why we just were, talking. I was telling him when she does this and she does this. And we're just like, wow, how does she manage it all? And when you get that inspiration piece, like you said, and it just wants to get out on the page.
So you love the inspiration piece, the writing piece. What is probably your least favorite part of the process?
I think probably the editing part is really hard, especially because after a certain point, I think you're too close to the writing to recognize where there are issues or where there are plot holes and things like that. So that's the point where I send it off to the beta readers like, hey, I need you to help me figure out what's wrong with this, if there's anything wrong with it. But having to also go in there and cut things or edit things, and making sure you get all the small details fixed. I think that's the hard part for me.
Just getting that critical distance.
Was there a big difference between your intent and the impact, when it came to the notes you received from the books and the things you were writing, where you're like, oh, I really did not write or mean it to be X, but all my beta readers saw this thing. They received it in a different way.
I think it was funny because you had actually made a comment about how Maya is kind of like immature. And I had recognized that myself, because after a certain point I was like, I don't know if I even really like her that much, but I couldn't identify why. And then there are certain things where you're like, there are certain areas where she's like inconsiderate sometimes, and I was like, okay, well, I need to rewrite like her thinking behind why she did something, versus her just coming off as rude, because there were some moments where I'm like,
Yeah, I know that the feedback stuff is hard. Like that's why I said I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like, and two, when I wrote that feedback, I remember just wanting to be like, you wrote a book. Like you can listen to nothing I say because oh my gosh, like you wrote a book. And it's so good. And these characters are so good and they're so lovable and you just root for them. I mean, all of them, even the one she doesn't pick. Like I want the best for him because I really liked him. And so I think that's awesome that you took that and like rolled with it and yeah.
So now that you've written a book, you wrote a book. Which book is next then? You said you've mentioned 2 or 3. Which one do you think is going to come up next?
I'm still trying to decide, like, if we go like in order according to the timeline, whoever Maya doesn't end up with is going to be the main character
of the next
in the next one.
Bachelor style.
And then the third book would be her best friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning currently. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, because there were a couple of guys that I'm like, maybe the best friend could end up with one of them. Because there were some really cute ones that I was like, wait a minute, I would like to see some more dates with these guys.
There was one in particular where I was like, I think they would click well together, but they might be kind of toxic. So I'm kind of exploring that relationship where it's kind of like very dramatic. And then you had pitched somebody for her that I think I'm going to move forward with.
I love it. I love it.
Exciting.
We'll have to keep talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I always tell him, like when I'm reading, especially if it's a book that we're not reading together, I feel like these are friends of mine that I'm like hanging out with every day. And so it's so fun when you get to like talk about these characters.
You just want to be in everybody's business.
Yeah, what are they up to? What's the
That's
tea? Yeah, tell me about this relationship.
I get it. No, I get it.
No, but it is. It's so fun, especially when like if you're writing sequels, it's so fun to go back and kind of check in on the people that you fell in love with and that you know. But can you tell us too where people can find this, find you?
Yeah, currently
can everyone find your content?
Available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But I'm on Instagram, and you guys have talked about TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well.
So it's Megan Sotelo, right?
Stiletto,
on
like the shoe.
Instagram. Yeah. Yes, like the shoe. I love that. I know. It's so
on Instagram and TikTok.
Yes.
And
then website is megansotelo.com.
Megansotelo.com. Get all the links. Get everything you need.
No, go order this.
Go order the book, everybody.
You'll love it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're sponging, trying to get all this information
Absorb it.
and talking to folks who've gone through the process is so helpful for us. And we will definitely be chatting you up when our book comes out.
All right.
I know. Will you read it?
Give it a read maybe for us.
Of course. I'd love to.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our author of the week, Megan Sotelo Padilla. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Megan for joining us, our author of the week. We just so appreciated the honest feedback and insights and just her own reflections on her writing. Just so excited for all of you to go find her book.
Yes.
I object. On Amazon.
But buy it right side up.
Buy it right side up.
There is a B version of the book that's more like this, but maybe this way.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Find her online on Instagram at Megan Sotelo and TikTok. And on her website, megansotelo.com.
Yes, I love talking to great people.
I know.
I learn so much every time we have these conversations because they've done it. And they've lived it, and they can talk about the process and how to get it done. So,
and just to be generous
inspired
like that with just giving us a peek behind the curtain. I know that's so personal, to share
100%.
that process and receiving feedback or making those edits and just finding the story as you go along. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, thank you for your time. As always, you can find us at our website. We're not going to spell it all out. It is
Stop. TPS www.ournextchapterpodcast.com.
You can find us also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, Our Next Chapter Podcast, or email us.
Can we spell that one?
No, thank you. Or you can email us at ournextchapterpod@gmail.com.
Yes, go to the website. There's a form there. You can sign up for the
non-existent newsletter.
Or you can drop us a note there.
There's a reason to sign up and put your name in. It's because when we do publish our book, we'll have a list at the back thanking all of our original OG fans.
That's right.
And so you can get your name in our book by signing up for that. And if at some point we do start publishing a newsletter, you'll receive it.
Can I get my name in our book? somewhere?
It should be in a few places, especially the cover.
Okay.
Probably. So we'll see. We'll
What do
see
we
how
need to
this
put on the
goes.
cover? We
Because
need
if
to
you
talk
keep
about that.
spelling out the website, it might just be my name on
Which
the cover.
website would you like me to
see.
spell?
No more.
No.
But yeah, please go. If you have any thoughts, feedback for us, submit those online through any of those channels. But thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, I love you.
And I love you. You know, we haven't had Stella on the video yet. We should do more Stella content. We can show her beautiful face.
If we have enough fan feedback requesting Stella's face in our next video,
I'm a fan, and I will send an
I said
email an
enough.
hour.
I need to set a threshold. Maybe like 1,000?
I can send 1,000 emails.
Okay, get started on
More
it.
Stella.